Hey everyone, Siobhan Nicolau here, talking to you today about my first book, The Absence of Evil, Love's Reclamation of the Soul. Chapter 7, Angels and Demons. Now, fast forward through chapter 6, and we end up in a whole new chapter, literally. So we allowed things to change and take their course. It was nothing short of God's hand that got me out of it all. I had to use the guidance of my invisible self in order to navigate through what could have been a very interesting outcome had I not. This is the difference between utilizing your ego or utilizing higher consciousness when it comes to making really tough decisions, even when it comes to filling out legal documents. It's the difference between fighting for what you want and listening for how to get it. And that is something that is very good for you to listen to. If you ever need coaching through that, get a hold of me and we'll show you how, and we'll guide you through your process. Because you'll find that when you let Spirit move through every decision you make, everything works out for the highest good of everyone. You just got to trust that that's going to happen. So this is around like 1993. And we begin a whole new way, whole new set of experiences, whole new way of life. This is when, through my continual healing, that I was starting to go to larger workshops. One woman in particular you'll read about, who I dearly love, who was really the first person to rip the lid off of my own denial after I had tried kind of a conventional way by going to a psychotherapist, but you'll read about what happened when I did that. That lasted all of about 40 minutes, and that's because I couldn't find the door ahead of time. But anyhow, so this is an 8-year period where the healing process in me was really in full swing. I was told to give up channeling to find this new way of becoming whole within myself. I've done nothing else since. In terms of my work evolves as I evolve. It's the simple use of tools. My second book goes all into the metaphysics and everything of it. This book shows you what I did to get through everything in my first book. The second book gives you all the details about how that happens on all these different levels. So this chapter also is where I met and married my third husband. So I was looking at my life at about 34, 35, and I'm like, geez, I've had a man for every decade I've been alive, and I've only been alive 3 decades. I kind of laughed when I put that into perspective, but it was wonderful. And there's so much in there that's good for you to pay attention to. Like, as a woman, I married a conventional man. He too is spiritual, but in his own way. He had been in the seminary to be a priest for 3 years, and you'll read about that. So he understood the path of the priest. He knew I was already in service as a minister, and really loved and respected me for that. However, my deeper healing process and what I discovered as a result of his reflection within my environment, within my life, was some of the deepest, darkest things that I ever had to reclaim as light within my own soul. And there was no way I could talk to him about the multidimensionality of my experience, because even now when I try to talk to people about it, they're just out the window. Like, if you get a copy of this book, or, as you read a copy of this book, it throws a lot of people out. They can't stay with it. It's just too much. It's too overwhelming. They can't fathom. Now, try to express how you're feeling about seeing something like what you'll see here to a man that has no clue about what you're talking about. Now, there's some real goodness about that. I've never wanted to be with a, quote, spiritual man. And the reason is because, number one, every time I have tried, there's been a resentment and a competition, because the old guard is still happening today. Even today, as I sit here today. But it was like, I respect them and I love them, but I'm not going to be the woman you expect me to be. I am more than that. And if you can't see that, then And we're not equals in your eyes and in how we do things, and we have no business together. But this man was conventional. He was an attorney. And you can't have a conversation with him. Hey, guess what, honey? I'm seeing this, and this is how I'm dealing with that. None of it. Not only does that leak energy from your process, but it's trying to get somebody to understand something they can't possibly understand. And it can be self-defeating in the way that they're looking at you like you're crazy, which puts doubt within your own mind. So there's a real blessing in being able to do this work without having to explain everything or call somebody out or something like that. This work can be very personal, and I love it about that. I have healed my mother for decades, never confronting her about what she did to me. And I have a different relationship energetically with her as a result. When you heal the energy within your emotional body in reference to anything you left here behind in terms of a past life, etc., you transform the energy and it's lasting. I found no matter how much I knew about things, this black cloud would not leave the top of my head. The only thing that transformed the black cloud, which I was perceiving from the black cloud within my own emotional body, was the sun. When the sun comes out, there can be clouds, they drift by, but the sun, when it's shining that bright, there are no clouds in the sky. And so when I switched to golden light, and you'll see how all of this happened, you'll see how I was guided to do that, you'll see how I was given the basic tools to do that, and how I've used these tools to become who I am, and not only that, but create my whole body of work, which keeps evolving as I do. I mean, it's really a beautiful thing. So we hope that you understand, if you ever choose this path of golden light and loving yourself and transforming your energy from the inside out, you'll see your external reality shift, not because you want to see it or judging it as bad, but because in the presence of love, everything has an opportunity to change of its own free will. That's not saying everything will, but there are profound changes between my mother and myself where it's almost frustrating at her at times that she can't act out like she used to because it's not in my vibrational frequency for her to respond to in that way. It's all energy here, remember. So it's a blessing when you have somebody you can't talk to about this because you hold your energy through the process. It's more internal. Write it down. Through this book, there are many dreams. I had 100 dream journals, and I was very grateful how my subconscious throughout my biggest healing times were showing me through my dreams what within me I was working on, so it wasn't burdening me during the day. I was meditating golden light, doing the inner work during the day, but if I had to live out the reflection that they showed me on my inner world, my life would have been a disaster. So anyway, you'll enjoy it. It's a fascinating chapter. It was a lot of fun. It was so revealing. So many great pointers you'll get out of it. And please reach out and leave a comment here. Let me know how I can help you answer some questions. Get a 15-minute reading, get a half an hour reading, get your questions answered. If we can coach you in any way and mentor you through your own healing, we would love to give you the piece of the puzzle that is the only piece of the puzzle in all of the healing things out there that we have actually found to be lasting in its result. It's like the flashpoint for every other modality. And there are ways that you come to that flashpoint using the golden light tools. So enjoy this really fun time through angels and demons.